Hello everyone and welcome to the show. My name is Luca and today I'm brought here with Dr. Mariam, and we're here today to talk about BLA Fit, which is this new facial device that's basically just going to make your face more symmetrical, more naturally beautiful, without any injections and totally non-invasive. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, Luca, for having me here. Hi everybody, I'm Dr. Mariam Bakhtiari and I am a dentist in Manhattan Beach, California, with my practice focused mainly on orthodontics, TMJ, and sleep apnea. And Luca, you asked me about the device, so can I just briefly say what I do, like in general?
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
So for many years, I've treated patients with orthodontic needs, kids that had occlusion, or they had crowding, or they had a jaw that was retruded back, or overbite. A lot of you are familiar with. And I made custom-made orthotics to be able to fix that deficiency. And for years, I've got beautiful broad smiles, but when I looked at the patients' faces, I realized that their faces, the tone of the musculature on their faces was not affected by all the beautiful work and hard work I was putting inside the mouth. And I knew there should be a way or a device that could be able to fix and complete a whole face, not just internally and a beautiful smile, but also be able to symmetrize the facial muscles and be able to give a little bit more youthful looking faces.
Yeah, and
that's where the BLA came in.
Right, and it just seems like it's such a different type of device in the sense, because like you're so used to working with, you know, metal and like hard plastics, yeah, and like everything going in the mouth like that, whereas this is so much more simple, and at a certain point it's like it's just so much cheaper than like a custom made orthotic by like a doctor.
Absolutely. For the means of when you make custom make orthotics for inside the mouth for the purpose, let's say for TMJ, patients that come with jaw problems and headaches and so forth, to make custom built orthotics that are like with similar material, to be able to fix their bite so they don't get headaches, we're looking at $3,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, compared to $85, that's a big difference.
Yeah, yeah, compared to $85, and they're as durable as this. Usually appliances that we make for patients, they last 3 to 5 years. So is the Bella Lip appliance.
Nice. Well, how does it work? So
so it anchors around the lips.
Okay.
And it's really mainly was made to be able to enhance the outside musculature of the face, all the way from orbit down to your clavicles and your shoulder. And it was supposed to tighten the air vein muscle, be able to define your jawline and lift up your lips. And I honestly really wanted this appliance to be replacing some of the more invasive procedures that are out there for injections of the face, lip injections, contouring with injections, or plastic surgery. I wanted to see if we can eliminate that or elongate it so that maybe when you're older you would do that. If we can start doing this, it's a preventive measure for face sagging, as well as we learn a lot about it that, as you know, it helps with TMJ, and now we're at the migraine study.
Yeah, that's one thing I'm really curious about and I want to talk about today is the TMJ aspect, where because I feel like not many people even know what TMJ means.
Absolutely.
So go ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah, so TMJ is temporomandibular joint, and I'm going to show with this photo. So this area is called TMJ. Temporal is a bone on the upper jaw, the temporal bone, like when we get headaches on the temporal side. Mandible is the lower jaw, and the extension of the lower jaw, where you put your hands by your ears and you move your jaw, you see that little bone, round bone that moves? That's your extension of your lower jaw. Now, if you look at this picture, the connection and the articulation of the lower jaw with the upper jaw has to be done with a disc, a cartilaginous disc in between. Like every two bones in our body have to have a joint or a disc in between. So there's a disc right there at that region. We need to have the lower jaw articulating with the upper jaw in a perfect, I always say, physiologic position. What does that mean? That means we have a very important anatomical area, which means we got the blood supply, nerve and artery pass right in that region to the brain. If the lower jaw is not positioned in a perfect position, we're looking at impinging those blood supply and creating headaches, ear issues, jaw issues, and sometimes when the jaw is back, we're causing clicking and noises and locked jaw and so forth. So that when we have that articulation of the lower jaw to the upper jaw not in the right position, we call it TMJ disorder.
Gotcha. Okay, because I feel like most people are very familiar with just clicking in general.
Yeah.
Because I have it, I know that for sure. Just because, and I didn't know it was caused by like trauma. Like that was the biggest like surprise to me, because I thought it was just kind of either you didn't have braces or like your jaw just didn't develop very well. And I didn't realize that it was because maybe I got hit in the head during football. Or chin. Yeah, when you're like a baby or something like that.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. You got it, Luca. Yeah. So now we know that the TMJ is the #1 cause of TMJ is accidents and trauma.
I can see that. Yeah.
And a lot of us have fallen while we were toddlers, and so we know that that's something we cannot avoid. But what we have to learn is we can learn how to help it. If you have somebody in car accidents, if you know of somebody that got whiplash or had head trauma, the first thing you want to do is you make sure the lower jaw is pushed forward. And if everybody's trained to do that, then we have less patients have brain issues. Does that make sense?
That makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So if I was there when one of my cousins, Neda, that you met.
Yeah.
Had car accident with her sister, and the car got total, and they took them to ER, and physically they had nothing wrong with them.
Okay.
But I saw the impact and how the car hit them, and I told her, come to my office, I have to make you an appliance. So I told her to relax her jaw, and they took MRI and everything, and they said, oh, there's nothing wrong. And I just waited, and next day she passed out. And that's because the impact created complete disconnect of the blood supply to the brain.
Passed out?
Passed out, like she was walking and all of a sudden she had like completely passed out and fainted. And my aunt called me, she says, when can I bring her? I said, I told you guys, you need to move the lower jaw forward. So she came and we made her temporary splint and she was good to go. But what I mean is people don't know, they think that clicking is an indication of TMJ. Not necessarily everybody clicks. So if you didn't click and you had headaches and you had jaw tension and you're clenching and grinding, there is treatments out there for you, and they're very expensive. Mm-hmm. You can come and visit me at Manhattan Beach office, and unfortunately, since we don't have enough research on this new product, is fairly new, that's what I will be able to do for you, a $3,000 to $5,000 orthotic that will definitely help you. But when I created BLA, it was not intended to treat TMJ. I knew it's helping, but I didn't want to focus on that because I wanted to be in the beauty and fitness world.
Right.
And then as we did our first clinical study, we learned that patients reported that their jaw was not clicking, they didn't have headache, and that's where I started thinking, maybe I should be doing my patients a favor and add this to their treatment.
That's so interesting, the fact that there was like almost like an adverse effect. Like you would never think to like create something that's, you know, supposed to beautify your face, that it's like, oh, well, this also like, you know, will give you less headaches. That's such a strange like side effect.
Yes.
Did you have that in mind, or in the sense of like, did you know that was going to happen, or did you like?
Yeah, I did. I did. At the beginning when I created Bella Lip Appliance, because the face and the head is my area.
Gotcha.
And I probably could say that I am more in charge of this area than a plastic surgeon is, because I work with this structure every day. I knew that if I move the jaw forward, I'm going to define the jawline, but at the same time I knew that it's helping the lateral pterygoids that hold the disc in. But my business, I was surrounded by business people, and they told me that either you want to do FDA or you don't want to do FDA. You want to be in medical world or you want to be in beauty world.
Gotcha.
They didn't want me to be in both worlds to begin with. Mm-hmm. And they said, once we talk about just beauty, then we can talk about the other important things. So we kept it aside, isolated, yeah. But then we had patients reporting those, and I knew, I wasn't surprised, but the rest of the group were surprised, because when you claim something that's still not clinical data, people that are scientists around you, they're always waiting for that clinical data.
Right.
But as somebody that does this for a living and we give exercises for patients that have TMJ, I knew this is like one of the best exercises for TMJ, but they asked me not to talk about it. So now that the clinical study came out and everybody talked about it and we published and we talked about how it helped people with their jaw to be relaxed, and they all reported that they felt less headaches and their clicking was reduced, and some reported that they don't snore as much. I knew that it's time for me to start talking about it. What if I'm not here next year? And I need to be able to have more people benefit from that, and that's why we're actually now with you, we've been doing series on the effects of TMJ.
No, I think it's so interesting that the fact that like it can do something like that was something like, well, we should probably show how it works.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So do you want me to show
yes,
example?
Yes,
okay,
yes,
cool.
yes.
Yeah.
So the bellow lip appliance is made by 2 arms and a loop that has a perfect precision resistance built in there with me and an aircraft engineer that worked with me. And we calculated how much torque and resistance do we need so that we don't create tension in the jaw, but yet still work out the facial muscles and benefit from it. And the arms are supposed to be in 2 ways. Horizontal, if you could demo for us. So the horizontal exercise will lift the corner of the lips, and you do slow exercises, move the arms together and hold, and then release. And the slower you do these movements, the more workout you get. Some people think they have more repetition is good, the less the better. So the exercise is for 1 minute a day, 30 seconds of horizontal exercise, and Luca is demonstrating it perfectly. And you hold and you let go. Notice he holds the tip of the bellow lip appliance. For those of you that have a bellow lip appliance that purchased from Amazon or from our private practice, if you take it out, you see that when you hold the loop when he's doing the exercise, it avoids it from torquing side to side, especially if you're a beginner exerciser and your muscles are weak. Now that horizontal exercise solely works on the corner of the lip. So people that have their lip downward, it just lifts it up. Now the main exercise that really helps the lips to be plumper, the jawline to define, your airway muscle to tighten, and treat your TMJ is this muscle. He's taking his hand out so you can see it, but if you start beginner, don't worry about being hand set. Keep hand free. Put your hands on the tip so that it doesn't tilt sideways. But Luca can do it without hand because he's an expert. But when he is moving the arms with his upper and lower lip, you notice the lower jaw shifted forward. When the lower jaw shifts forward, it's doing basically moving this jaw forward and opening the roadmap to the blood supply to the brain. All of a sudden you get a brain rush of blood. People that have constriction from migraine, that should be helping it. If you have clicking and you hear clicking when you're doing the vertical exercise, thank you, Luca. If you're doing the vertical exercise and you hear clicking, you're not doing it correctly. You need to shift your jaw so far forward so that you can hear the clicking. Did you hear your clicking?
No, I didn't hear. I was just about to say though, like that's a really good example. Is like you should push your jaw to the point where it almost feels like, am I doing it right? That's how far you should do it, as far as possible. That's one thing that
And the further you push your lower jaw forward, the more you're engaging your airway muscles and you're defining your jawline. There's many products, Luca, out there that they look like a ball, they look like different, similar maybe to our product, but I promise you there's nothing in the market that is calculated by doctors and engineer to be able to serve your facial, to be able to improve your facial structure at the same time relieving your jaw joint. Sometimes I'm worried about these advertisements that is on Amazon or other places of products that are so big and bulky, and as TMJ specialist, I'm always worried about injuring the temporomandibular joint, displacing the disc, creating headaches. So I'm actually hesitant to advise that. And we've treated few patients in the past with lockjaw using things in their mouth that should not be there. It should be actually banned, because these products, if we know what structure passes around the jaw, things that goes in the mouth can affect our whole head and neck, and it should not be something that we can just put in there and say that we're exercising the jawline, yet the patient now is clicking and it's getting migraines. So we need to be able to be, as population that we are, we need to be really careful about what goes in our mouth.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. Yeah.
So the exercises that Luca did, the vertical exercise, really relieves and relaxes your jawline. Now we can add the breath to taking it in and out. Now we're adding yoga with resistance and relieving your jaw joint. And for those of you who have difficulty sleeping at night and you have a lot of tension in your daily life, if you do this exercise a minute before you go to sleep, put your appliance by your bedside, you will see how the benefit is. Another thing is, Luca, when patients see the appliance, I'm going to show you mine, it looks so simple. And when you have a simple device like that, people question if it does it work or not.
Right.
Well, I'm sitting here with you testifying that it works. We have clinical data that it works, and we're going to have more coming up soon. But one thing I've done is, because it's so simple, people think that just putting it in the mouth and exercising, even the instruction that we put in there, I felt it wasn't sufficient enough to teach them, as an expert in the field of TMJ and the face, how to better use it so that they can get the maximum benefit. So we included in our packages 5-minute complimentary one-to-one basically consult. And having a consult with a TMJ specialist is usually over $200, $250. But you get to have that, you get to ask some questions from me, and you get to learn what's best exercise for your problems and your needs. And that's one thing that I wanted to bring it up.
Speaking of like your first time, like figuring out, I've noticed that the most important thing, like, because my family and I were like having fun with it, and the first time my parents did it, it like slipped.
Yeah.
And that's so. First suggestion is hold it. But I noticed that like a lot of the people don't realize how tight you have to make your lips.
Yes.
That's the number one thing I
Yes.
noticed. Like along with it pushing your jaw forward, you need to make sure your lips are tight, because if you just go, it's not going to work. It's not going to. Yeah.
Your lips have to wrap around it.
Right.
And when you wrap your lips around it, you're actually doing the workout for your lips, and that's how people have 14.6% average lip muscle increase, because it's not just something that goes in your mouth. You're wrapping your upper and lower rib precisely around the arms, and you're making those movements, and that's why with little movement you get such a beautiful, fast, you could get a like immediate pumping of your lips, and you have a long-term positive effects.
I want to go over that again, actually, because that was like the one thing. Like, so TMJ is something that is an adverse effect, which is very helpful for our daily lives.
Yes.
But the main feature, going back to that, is like the I guess you could say beautification, where it's like natural beautification. And I want to talk about that a little bit more, because you said the upper lip was like the main one with the 14.6. But what else does it do? Like what?
Yeah.
What else
So the horizontal and vertical exercises mainly do 3 things that we have in our website. They plump up your lips and increase your lip muscle mass. They define your jawline and make you a little bit more sharper jawline and tighten your jowls. Also, they lift up your cheekbones and define your cheekbones more. So when people wear makeup, they don't have to put lines to show their cheek lines.
The contour.
It actually contours your cheekbones and it lifts it up. So all the way from your orbit line, just imagine to your neck gets tightened up. And these exercises, unless you have it and you put it in your mouth and listen to me and do it the way I tell you, you will feel all the muscles working out. And remember, keep in mind, our facial muscles are much smaller than the rest of our body, and it does not require a lot of pumping. So the measure, we did so many trial on basis of different resistance. The resistance that currently BLA has, it's one of the most precise resistance that you only need to do 30 seconds in each exercise to get the benefit. So the study that we published was basically 30 seconds of daily each side exercise, 1 minute exercise a day, and we were able to get the benefits that we had.
That's I want to go back to that. So that's interesting that it only takes 30 seconds. How did you come up with like only 30 seconds? I'd say very specific.
Yes. So we wanted something that was fast, and we had about 1.5 years of process of making this, where we were trying different tastes, and I would testings, and I was a guinea pig. because for me, I know I have also had past TMJ problems, so I wanted to keep that in mind when I was doing the exercises, as well as how much does it take for it to plump up and how much of that exercise we need. I think when we came to that sweet 1 minute time is basically based on my own experience and trial and basis, but I always tell my patients, you can do more than 1 minute, but just build yourself up. Just kind of like when you go to the to a new gym and you're like starting a new fitness exercise routine. You don't want to go the first day and do so much that you're sore. I will leave it up to your own discretion, because you will feel the muscles working out the first 4 strokes that you make if you do it correctly. So then the moment your muscles gets fatigued, I think that's enough. And at the beginning, for me, was about 30 seconds, 25 to 30 seconds when I felt the fatigue. And I think that's enough to start. I have patients that do this all day. They have one everywhere. I have one on my desk, one in my bathroom, one up by my bedside, and I do it a lot. Yesterday we had several patients that I was having them use one of these, and I was demoing in every room the whole day. So doing it more is not bad. It's just working yourself up, and I think everybody's their own doctors. They know what's their limit.
Right, you could tell at a certain point. Because I noticed, like, you will feel it. You will definitely feel it, which is such a weird feeling too, because you're not used to, you know, people work out and you know the burning feeling in your body, but that was such a new or like kind of weird sensation to have like burning on your mouth, where it's like an exercise, like, wow, my lips are tired. I never.
Yes, and if you do it correctly, you actually feel a lot of oxygen flowing to your brain at the same time that you feel the workout, and that's the beauty of it. You're doing everything at once. And we have a lot of yoga. We have now a group of facial yoga people around the world that they're using the belly lip appliance, and we will have a symposium. I was going to surprise you on that. I was thinking an online symposium of all of us sit together and invite people to come so that we can talk about the facial exercise and facial yoga in general, adding the belly lip appliance and the benefits of it.
So let's go off of that. So why do you consider it like yoga for the face? Like, what is it, just because of the effects that it has, or like, because the yoga does a lot for your body and that kind of stuff. So what's the specifics behind that?
Well, fitness for the face, yoga for the face, or yoga for the body is usually relates to our brain as meditation, right? You feel like relaxation feeling, meditation feeling. You can consider any type of a workout. There are people in the world of yoga that believe in that different lifestyle, of yoga lifestyle. Belly lip appliance, if you do it slowly, it actually creates a parasympathetic surge. So your body actually can tap into the parasympathetic mode and become more relaxed, and reduces the stress. Now you add the yoga breath to this exercise, you feel it. Mm-hmm. The first 3 strokes of horizontal or vertical, all of a sudden you feel like your brain feels high and relaxed. And imagine doing that before sleep, tightening your facial muscles, working out your face, adding a little bit yoga in there. It's just a whole, until you experience it, I cannot describe it. It actually takes you to a different level of meditation and workout. And that's why we felt like this is more like a face yoga than just a fitness.
Right.
Because if you do it fast repetition, of course you work out. But I feel like, as somebody that uses the belly lip appliance and believes in it, if you add the slow movements, like less is more, and add the breath to it, you will benefit not only on facial beauty aspect of it, but also relaxation, tapping to your parasympathetic, engaging with your vagus nerve so that your stomach gets relaxed. So it's just so much more we're learning.
I like the aspect of doing it before you go to bed too, because like a lot of the time when we go to bed, we're either on our phone or we're thinking about what we're gonna do the next day and that kind of stuff. So you're not focused on going to bed. Whereas this, you have to focus on this, where it's like, all right, this is the thing I'm doing, just trying it out, and I'm gonna try it for like a minute and then see what happens. And like you actually do it, and then you feel more relaxed, and then you're like, wow, that was nice. And then it's so much easier to go to bed. And
the people that snore and have sleep issues, when you exercise the vertical just before you go to sleep, you feel like, I'm gonna actually do this myself really quick.
Yeah.
When you do this exercise at least 5 to 6 times before sleep and add the breath, you will feel not only your airway muscle tightening so that it's not so floppy and making noise, as well as your brain gets to a stage of very, very high relaxation. So I'm going to do the lip muscle mass increase exercise as well as jawline. It will help the TMJ and allow you to sleep better. So here it is.
So you breathe in. So you're breathing in when you're actually like, I guess, using it, and then relaxing, breathing out, it goes out. Okay.
Now the yoga instructors that work with us, they do it, they specifically told me there's no right or wrong way of where to take the breath, what you feel comfortable. For me, when I open on the arc that we created, this arc that you have is a perfect amount of maximum jaw opening. So everything that's done on this appliance is calculated. We didn't want to open something this big and your jaw dislocates. So people that have locked jaw or they have minimum range of motion work with this. This is the perfect amount of opening. So when you open, in my mind, I am like relaxing. And when I close, I can take the air in. So that works for me.
Gotcha.
You have to see what works for you.
No, I could see that. That makes sense to me too, because it's like, relax.
Yeah,
and you're like letting it out,
yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
And when you let out, when you move the arms together and you let out you just let it all the way open. It not only contours and makes your lips bigger and plumper, but also allows your jaw muscles to relax and open as much as they should be. So there's people, Luca, tell me, what if somebody copies it? Good luck copying this, because there's a lot of science in this simple product. This product, you can use it for 400,000 times of repetition and it doesn't fracture or break. You buy something that looks like that and they can cheat. We've got the patent through the Asia as well. But if they did something like that and you bought it and after 5 times it cracked, then that's what the difference between a high quality, great product that's made in USA with top material, calculated, and the vision of somebody that treats TMJ to create this versus something that somebody in an industry of plastic makes something that looks similar.
Yeah.
So I'm not worried about that, and this is something that you need to be trained on, like a yoga. And that's why the 5 minutes one-to-one is available to you to be able to get that training that you need.
Speaking of meditation, we actually have a question from Gemma. So can you combine it with meditation? That's actually a good question.
Absolutely. That's such a great question, because we're now working with a lot of yoga gurus on the BLA appliance, and I'm learning as days going about how to incorporate this. We have a lady named Sylvia Yoga. She does the pelvic floor alignments through yoga, and she adds this to her yoga meditation. So she believes that when you do the horizontal exercise and you let go with the breath, you're actually tapping to your parasympathetic mode. You're actually creating a very good alkaline system in your body, and you can do the horizontal and do the same. So we're learning, and we're looking at a day to come soon. I've done some sessions with her on Instagram. Maybe I can invite her once to Amazon Live so that she can actually demo how she does her meditation with BLA. I can tell you how I do it, but I'm not a yoga master. I'm still a student and I'm still learning. But the way you take the breath in, and I'm gonna demo few of the horizontal and vertical exercise that is working your facial muscles if you do it slow. But think about, if you have it, do this with the breath in and hold the breath in and just release all that stress. It itself is a meditation for me.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not a meditation guru, but I will tell you that when I do this at night before I sleep, it's like my whole day feels like, oh, I'm so light now. I can actually go to bed and just close my eyes and go to sleep. It creates that type of a tapping to your parasympathetic mode.
I like that.
So I'm gonna just quickly do 2 of horizontal, 2 of the vertical, so you can see how I do it at home. And once you have it at your home, please, if we have a card, email me so we can meet together on my lunch hour, and I can show you exactly how we do it in a more one-to-one session.
So breathe in, and then breathe out, and let everything go. Yeah, going back to what we were talking about earlier, it's so interesting to like, it's funny to think about that you have to focus on it. You have to focus on this one thing that it's like, okay, breathe in, and then breathe out. Such a simple little tool that makes you like stop your day, like actually focus on something instead of being distracted by your phone, by, you know, kids, work. Yeah, exactly. You have to consciously like stop and be like, okay, this device, I'm gonna do this for a minute and like do it on cue. Let's do it.
I promise you, with 2 of the vertical exercise, I feel like I need to sit down. I feel like I'm kind of like too relaxed. So you don't need any other outside sources like alcohol, drugs. Do this.
Just BLA.
I promise you, there's something with that resistance, moving your large jaw forward, tapping to parasympathetic mode, releasing your occiput by the vertical exercise. There is something that I don't know, and I would love to one day have an open research with yoga, people in the world of yoga, that is just all of a sudden your brain feels surge of blood supply in, and you gotta do it to believe it.
Absolutely. Well,
I think
I was just about to say that was perfect timing. That's a good way to end it. So thank you guys for joining us. This is actually really fun. Thank you, Dr. Miriam, for being here, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a great day.
Have a great day.